The superstars of Fan Control Football Season 2.0 are not only the who's who of celebrity team owners and influencers, not the 21 million live views of our Emmy-nominated broadcast. Across Twitch, DAZN, Fubo, NBCLX, Peacock. Or our highlights that scored over 100 million views. And we can't forget best-in-class sponsors. But the biggest star of Season 2 is our play calling app that allow fans to control the action on the field. Fans pick a team, pick a play, 4 run plays, 4 pass plays to choose from. The play with the most votes is called in real time.
We got it.
This is where video games and live action come to life. And now, Fan Control Sports and Entertainment brings you Fan Controlled Hoops, where fans call the shots. Coming 2023, the future of sports is here, and it's Fan Control. Power to the fans.
Are you ready for it?
This is FCTV, fan-controlled television. Programs created and produced for the fans, by the fans of fan-controlled sports and entertainment. As always, power to the fans. And now, it's time for the show.
Don't cause a ruckus. We talking that talk, just spitting them facts. We setting them traps and cracking them bags. Yeah. We got all the news, we know all the stories. Yeah. We start from the bottom, rise up to the glory. Yeah. We say what your local reporters can't say. Yeah. We break down the X's and O's on the play. It's AJ, King, Con, and Jose Ruckus. We call it right on the first take and they love us. Yeah, we the best when it comes to sports debate. Find the podcast and let it play. If we get you in your feelings, that's okay. AJ and Jose send you on your way like, bruh, don't cause a ruckus. We just call it how we see it, big bro. And that we will always.
You know, sometimes I forget how dope that intro song is.
Yeah, man. I not to pat my own back, but I'm pretty proud of how that came out.
It's great, and I know you put it out there on Twitter. We got to get people because I listen to it like every couple of weeks or so because I got the full track. The full track's a total banger. Go listen to it, people. If you haven't listened to the full theme song already, you got to check it out.
I wonder if we can we have podcasts on Spotify. I wonder if we can just give it to Josh and be like, hey, put it out as an MP3 for the first FCF MP3.
That would be sweet. Get a #1 single, go platinum. Let's do it.
Do an open edition NFT. Wait, no, you guys don't like NFTs.
What's up, Internet? Welcome to Don't Khahs A Ruckus, the sports debate show that tries not to take itself too seriously. I am your host, Jose Ruckus, and joining me, as always, is my good friend and arch rival, AJ Kah. What's going on, AJ?
Hello there. I'm doing okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. There's just so many things I kind of want to just start off every show now, which is something random that I've been thinking of off the top of my head. But we talked about the only thing that's on my mind right now, and it's we were discussing favorite fan bases in the FCF.
Maybe we'll do that one next week.
I think
maybe
we should
we'll do that
next
one
week.
Next week. Yeah,
but our answers will surprise you.
I think our answers will surprise people. But yeah, next week, I'm saying it right, next week, we're ranking FCF fan bases. The definitive tier list of FCF fan bases.
Unbiased, too.
Totally unbiased. All right, if you didn't know, if you didn't know, Don't Khahs A Ruckus goes live on twitch.tv/fancontrolsports every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern. Then it goes up on podcast services and YouTube the next day. You can be watching it live, just like Info Arcade is, just like Peanut FCF is, just like Ruthless Cutie is. We got a whole bunch of topics to talk about today. So much stuff. But AJ, just what's going on, man? You got anything? How's your week been? I haven't talked to you in a little while.
Yeah, we haven't talked in a week. My week was fun. I went to Idaho and snowboarded a little bit. And
nice.
It was better than I was expecting. I don't really think of Idaho and snowboarding, but they're right there with Colorado, Utah area. It's right around that area.
I got family up in Idaho. They do plenty of snowboarding.
Yeah, it's nice. They're nicer than you do. I was thinking. I didn't know what I was really expecting. I just feel like it was just cornfields and
Oh man, Idaho's potatoes.
There's potatoes.
Man.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Literally, first place I went to eat. It was the Boise Fry Company, and it was what type of potato and what type of fry do you want? And that's all they served, was just like, you want curly fries? We got them. You want, poutine? We got them. You want it in a yellow gold Yukon? We got it. You want a red yam? We got it. You want a purple yarrow? We got it. It's just like,
That sounds awesome.
too many decisions for me to make as
Oh,
far
I'm
as
going,
potato go.
curly fries. Snapping that right off. Curly fries, man. Love them.
I went poutine, man. I
Okay.
love a good poutine.
Respectable. Respectable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Canadian, but
All right.
the
I'll tell you what,
Canadians are great with poutine. I gotta say that.
Oh, absolutely. That's like their thing up there. It's Tim
It is.
Hortons and poutine. That's all they do.
There's like a franchise called Mr. Poutine. Love it. It's great.
I'll tell you what,
That's all
man.
I
I
gotta
had a pretty great weekend too.
Yeah. Tell
Yeah.
me about it.
Okay, well, so one, we had a huge snowstorm here in California, which was just like crazy out of the blue. So I got a 3-day weekend because we had to shut everything down on Friday because of the snow, which was awesome. And
Fair.
then you ever play Magic the Gathering? You know the card game?
So, okay, funny story. I haven't, but my best friend was for like 3 or 4 years, like ranked like number 7 in the world at Magic
Oh.
the Gathering.
Who's your
Who?
friend?
His name is Arya Ruhi. And it was like 6 or 7 years ago, maybe, but like he was pretty good.
Interesting. So I'm super into Magic. Well, I used to be super, like 10 years ago, I was playing like hardcore Magic, grinding tournaments and stuff. I'm sort of getting back into it. Been streaming a lot of it on twitch.tv/Jose Ruckus. But I went to a tournament this weekend and qualified for the regional championship in Dallas, Texas. So in June, I'm going to be going to Dallas to try to qualify for the Pro Tour. And you can watch all my tournament prep as I do this for the next couple. I'm going to be streaming like every single day playing Magic the Gathering. If you're interested, if you want to hang out with me, twitch.tv/Jose Ruckus.
See, now this is one of those things where like I feel like we got to get Josh or like Deez on the phone and be like, let's do a documentary series. Just like throw me some money to follow you around for like 2-3 weeks during this Magic the Gathering like tournament. And let's just get that going. That's a fandom that needs some attention. We can make it cool.
That's an interesting idea.
Why not? Why not?
All right, well, let's get into the show proper, man, because we got a whole bunch of really neat topics going on. Starting it off, like, I'll tell you what. There's been just a bunch of stuff coming out about a couple quarterbacks in the NFL this week. Aaron Rodgers off doing his whole darkness retreat thing. This story on The Athletic that came out this weekend about how Russell Wilson tried to get Pete Carroll fired, had an office, told all the players in the Denver Broncos that he had an open door policy for his office in the locker room. AJ, which of these two guys is the most annoying player in football?
I'm going to go with Russell Wilson. I think I know that's surprising, but I genuinely feel, and we talked about it, I feel like Aaron Rodgers just wants to go away for a little. He just wants his own me time, kind of doing the kumbaya thing to make his decision. But Russell Wilson is a diva, man. Like, he's got an office in the locker room. How dare you? You have a stall in the locker room, just like every other player on the team. Okay? You are not special just because you're the quarterback. If anything, that alienates you by saying, I got open door policy on my office hours. Come on. That just
what's an open door policy? Having a locker right next to everybody else. That's an open door policy.
It's called not having a door because it's a locker room. Hey, who'da thunk?
It's pretty bad because it really does separate. Like it doesn't feel like you're on a team with these people. It feels like you're treating them like your upper management and they're like your, almost like your employees. And like football is a team sport. I think this is it is pretty ridiculous. I'm gonna go with Aaron Rodgers though, as being the most annoying quarterback. And it's just that,
lay it on me.
So the one thing that really bothers me about Aaron Rodgers is that it's not just that, he wants to go off, he wants to have his own time or anything. That's not the case. Because if you want to say like, hey, I'm not going to talk to the media, I don't want to do any kind of media interviews, anything like that, respectable. I respect it. You don't want to get involved in that kind of stuff? Go right ahead. But that's not what Aaron Rodgers does. No, Aaron Rodgers has a weekly time slot on Pat McAfee's show where he goes on there and gets to frame everything around however Aaron Rodgers wants to frame it. He gets to say whatever he wants, gets to call all the other media people out there like, oh, they're always lying. They're always doing this stuff. Aaron lies all the time on that show. People have taken out clips of him saying a thing that definitely wasn't true or saying he was going to do a thing and then he did something completely different. He uses that show for propaganda and it drives me insane because he likes to act like he's above it all and he's not. He's in there. He desperately wants people to like him, but he pretends like he doesn't care if you like him or not. That's the kind of stuff that I find annoying.
All right, that's fair. I'm not a big fan of the Pat McAfee show. Like, I don't like the fact that they kind of make fun of the FCF. He makes fun of AEW a lot. He's just like a WWE fan because like that's where he worked for a while.
Yep.
I'm just he's a kicker, man.
Punter.
We're a league of we don't need them. All right, so I don't need Pat McAfee. And I don't need his show.
I respected his show at the beginning, but it's essentially that show has just become
it's gone down the
propaganda.
drain,
like all it does is spread, very biased opinions. Now I'm gonna slide in a little extra here for you on this topic, AJ, because over the last couple of days, there's been a player who I think is climbing up the ranks of the most annoying athlete, in my opinion, and it's Damian Lillard of all people. Damian Lillard.
Time?
No, and you know what it was? It was a couple days ago. He said,
"Is it the plane video?"
No, he said they better not let us win a championship in Portland. And it's like that's not happening, brother. Nobody's worried about that.
You're not wrong that nobody's worried about that, but it's one of those statements that I feel like that's just a weird statement to have in general because like. Nobody's stopping you from getting the championship. Just your team and organization are stopping you.
Just leave. Go somewhere and win a championship.
If that's what you want. But like we talked about this yesterday, sometimes the grass isn't always greener. You can leave Portland and maybe you're not going to have the same effectiveness wherever you go because the ball isn't probably going to be in his hands if he goes somewhere else, depending on the team. But yeah, that quote doesn't make sense to me. And it's just like they better not let us win a championship. Who? Nobody's writing the script. Like I know I joke about the NFL being a script and written, but like at the end of the day, like the only person stopping them from getting a championship is themselves. Like just go win it.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean he's never even like sniffed a finals appearance. I mean. This dude's gonna finish his career with essentially like no awards on the table except for that Rookie of the Year, and like I mean he'll blame everybody else. He'll blame super teams. He'll blame the organization stuff. But like man, he's this
generation's Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, he's way better than Carmelo though.
He is, but like
this is the thing. I genuinely I love Dame Lillard. Don't get it twisted here, okay? I think the guy's amazing to watch. He's incredible, but sometimes this guy, I'm just saying, gets a little bit annoying. That's all I'm saying.
Gets a little corny. The plane video though, if you haven't seen it, when because there was like the storm that happened in like the western half of the United States that happened in California. It also happened up in Portland.
Yep.
And stopped the Trailblazers from like flying overnight. And they decided since they were stuck on the tarmac, it's a perfect time to make a music video for Dame Lillard. That was corny. I gotta say it. Like that was really corny. I didn't like it. Not a fan. I guess I'm just very like. I'm a musician. I'm picky about what's good. Like when I hear a corny rapper, like I heard one this week.
Dame has been trying to do the rap thing. Dame has been trying to do the rap thing for a while, and he's just not very good at it.
He's not and that's not his fault. There's this saying within the music industry that every musician wants to be an athlete, and every athlete wants to be a musician, and it's kind of true, man. Like if you think about it, like Shaquille O'Neal, not the best rapper, great basketball player. You know
what's crazy? Is that JaVale McGee is going to finish his career with a better NBA accolades than Dame Lillard and better rap accolades than Dame Lillard. Because JaVale McGee won a Grammy for a song that he produced.
That is That's some, that's some quiet, like strong stuff right there. I'm trying not to say like bad words on the podcast right now because there's so many words that I could use for that. But that's some like, walk quietly with a big stick type mood. You know what I mean?
I'm a big JaVale McGee guy. I love JaVale McGee. I don't care that he trips over his feet all the time. I think that guy's awesome.
Him and the Birdman were like two of my favorite like centers for a couple years in the NBA.
Yeah, great.
Like,
love Birdman.
He was one of the favorites for me. Like, just loved the whole tattoo. He just looked scary too. For a big white guy, terrifying.
All right, well, let's keep the topics on football here because we got XFL Week 2 that just wrapped up. AJ, it's getting worse. The quality of football is getting worse in the XFL. Week 1, you and I were both fairly skeptical about this league. There was like one or two like decent games to watch. Week 2, I thought the game they played on Thursday was like fine, and then the weekend games is some of the worst football I've seen in quite a while.
Yeah. It was not good. I didn't enjoy it, man.
Is this gonna just? Do we expect this is what we're gonna see for the rest of these weeks? Like, I mean, look, you and I both have been following the Orlando Guardians because we've got some people we know on that team. We got some friends on that team. It's cool, but like what we saw from the Orlando Guardians this weekend was frankly embarrassing for some of the like. I mean, you heard the coach talking about like wanting to fire almost the entire roster. I mean, we saw our friend DeAndre Francois out there yelling at his players because they're just out there just messing around, man. It's like they're not even competing.
Yeah, it just feels like the level of play isn't what we were expecting, and I saw it within the Guardians organization like this weekend, especially on that viral TikTok of DeAndre just telling his team to shut the F up and listen to him. And for me, that just comes down to like how these players are taking the league seriously. And it comes to question, if the players aren't taking it seriously on the field, what's going on behind the scenes? Mm-hmm. Like it's one thing to blame players when they're not playing well, but to me, I thought this was a coach's issue this weekend. A lot of the plays that were called didn't really make sense in the situation in the downs. I was very surprised that there was such a disconnect between DeAndre and Andrew Jamil when they've been cohesive for so many years.
We know that those guys work together.
Yeah, so it's just having a quarterback have to be the running back in a situation where, that shouldn't be the case. This isn't an arena league with 50 yards. This is a real league with like 100 yards. To me, my questioning comes down to what is, the general manager doing? What's the coach doing? What's the offensive coordinator doing to make these plays come up? Like, why is DeAndre running? He should be throwing it. He should be handing it off to, a running back. He should be doing a play action pass. I guess, Ruthless is saying maybe the pressure got to them, but I really think this is on the coaching staff. Like,
I agree with you to an extent. I do think this is a coaching issue. I mean, when I get done with a game and I see a coach blaming players, I assume that guy's a bad coach. That's just always been my default. If you're blaming your kicker because they missed a field goal, you're blaming your defense or anything like that, I just assume you're a bad coach. You're not willing to take that responsibility on yourself. That's bad coaching, in my opinion. I do also think, though, that this does come down to the intensity of players, their willingness to compete and stuff, because I don't doubt that there's talent on these teams. But one thing, when the XFL relaunched a couple years ago, one thing that they added was that they mic'd up the huddles, and you could hear the quarterback talk to the coach and stuff like that. And I developed a sort of theory through watching those games, which is how to tell like really NFL caliber football players from guys who just aren't going to make it there. And when you watched a quarterback talk to a coach after a play went bad, you would see these guys be like, they're just like, the coach is telling them, hey, we're supposed to line up like this. You did this. And he's like, oh, no. I did that. No, for sure. I did that. No, right. It's somebody else messed up.
Yep.
It's that level of intensity that you have to take. You have to learn from your mistakes. You have to be willing to like acknowledge your shortcomings and stuff. Yep. And I think that's the kind of flaw that we're going to see with these leagues. I mean, look, we know that most of these guys aren't going to be able to make the NFL. That's just how it works. And if you're not able to match the talent level, the competitive level, then you need some other way to balance out these games. And this is one of the things I love about FCF, which is making it 7-on-7. Sure, we might not have some receivers who are NFL caliber on some of these teams, but guess what? 7-on-7 makes it to where they can get open. It makes it to where the quarterback have more time. It makes it to where we can open up run games in different ways and stuff. It's a balancing measure that I think really, really works. And it's one of the reasons that FCF, I think, is such a good league.
100% I agree with you. And to go off of what you're saying, I think there is an issue of, in the XFL, there is this level of, I need to get my name out there. I need to get to the next level because there are so many eyes on us, especially now with the Disney and ESPN deal. You know, there are players that are talking in the huddle that should not be talking. You don't want an offensive lineman telling a quarterback, yo, let's run this play. That's not a situation. And I think you're right 100% that these guys are just like, you know, they're not 100% in it for the right reasons. They're not, their head isn't 100% in the game. And I agree with you. I think in the FCF, there's this, for some reason, it just feels like the level of competition is higher. Maybe because, you know, the players themselves, yes, they are, you know, competing to get to, you know, their eyes, you know, more eyes on them. They're competing to get to that next level. But, you know, genuinely within the halls of the FCF and like during the season, these players wanted to win. Like not only for the bonuses, but they were talking smack to each other too.
There's a culture of competition in the FCF that you don't get in a lot of these lower sports leagues. I think part of it is because they're all living together, they're all working together and stuff. We did an episode of the Aces Wild podcast a long time ago when my brother was on as a co-host. My brother's a football coach. And he would talk about, he's like, I think it's a really good thing that they have everybody stay together because it sort of works like he talked about and what Ray Austin talks about, what Sean Leon talks about. They're all one team. And when you're practicing against a guy and you know, you're in practice and an offensive lineman holds, you're going to hold him accountable for that. You're going to make fun of him. You're going to be like, oh, you can't handle me. You have to hold me, all that kind of stuff. And it breeds competition. And the XFL is lacking in competition. And I right now, that's its biggest problem. Next up, we got a potential solution for the XFL as far as entertainment goes. AJ, Carson Wentz is a free agent. He's been released from the Washington Commanders. Should he consider going to the XFL or should he just take a backup job in the NFL? What do you think?
I mean, that's a loaded question. I think Carson Wentz is one of those players. He's like Gardner Minshew, you know? He's been a backup. He's been a starter. He's been a backup. He's a backup. He's a starter. He's a backup. Like the guy isn't super consistent as far as play, you know, especially this last year with the Commanders. I think the NFL is probably going to give him another job. He's going to take it because that's, you know, the main ticket. That's the ticket to the game that everybody wants. But if they're smart, no teams will give it to him, and we'll see him in either the XFL or personally, I want him on the FCF.
You want us to put out the money for the FCF?
I'll put out the money. Whatever
the man
money
is made of glass. Cecil Cherry's gonna break him over his knee.
That's true, but it'd be funny to see, and it'd be worth it. Like, as long as Cecil's on his team, like, bring Carson Wentz to the Apes. I'll get Cecil on your squad. First pick every time. We will have Cecil protecting him. We'll put him on the O-line. Just have one Cecil protecting Carson Wentz all the time. Actually, genuinely, I'd rather have Gardner Minshew. Gardner, come in.
I love Gardner Minshew.
Give me that
mustache.
That I want to see it. Let's go.
Yeah. I mean, look, here's all I'm saying. Here's a pitch for the FCF. You bring in Gardner Minshew. You pair up me and him as like a wrestling style manager, Mustache Brothers. Mustache Mountain. Remember Mustache Mountain?
I see. It's so good. I can't disagree with it. The only thing that's bad about that is that means they have to go to the Knights, and everyone's tired of the Knights getting all the good players.
I can be a free agent. If he's a free agent, I'm a free agent.
There you go. Okay, I'll take it then. Because genuinely, if you go to the Beast, if you go to any team, I'd enjoy that. It's just like there's like two teams that I'd be like, really? Those guys? Like, but if you were on like the Zappers with Gardner and like you were his manager and like walking around suit and tie with a little like briefcase, just every time he gets a touchdown, you run it out to him, open up the briefcase, he puts the football in the briefcase. Yeah.
This is good. This is good. Patrick D's. Take notes.
Come on, guys. We're giving you grade A content every week. You just got to watch. All right. This is perfect ideas.
All right, that's going to wrap up our football talk for the week, but I want to move on to basketball because we've been monitoring some situations. We've been talking about there's the trade deadline just happened recently. A bunch of players got moved. One that you brought up to me, I didn't even realize this, but like since the Mavs have added Kyrie, what'd you say, 1-3?
I think they're 1-3 now. When I updated you on it, they were 1-2, but I think they're 1-3 now.
And the only team that they had beat was who?
The Spurs.
The Spurs, like, the worst team in the NBA.
Yeah, so it wasn't a great outing for them, but yeah, I'm gonna go off a little on this. This is something that I love to see because for so long, people have been saying Luka's the new MVP, Luka's the new LeBron, Luka's the next generation GOAT, and while I agree, Luka is a good player. I'm not saying he's not. I've never said he's not a good player. I've always said he's a good player. I think he is overhyped. And I think this is the perfect reasoning right now because he is not a good enough player to alone carry a team of, let's say, not superstars to like a bunch of role players. Let's say this. He is not a good enough player to take a team of role players and himself to the finals and win it. He's not. He needs another player to play alongside of, and he hasn't had the opportunity to play with a quality star player. Until today, he has arguably the best quote-unquote Robin in the NBA in Kyrie Irving. The man has been to finals, won finals.
I don't think so.
Like,
I don't think one, I mean, this guy, he hasn't done. When was the last time this guy's been on a successful team? If you remember when he was on the Celtics were better when he was on the bench than when he was playing. Kyrie hasn't been actually a top tier player in a long time.
You can't say that because in the Nets, he was one of the reliable superstars.
He barely played.
He played towards the end of his tenure at the Nets. He was playing well, man, and a lot of Nets fans actually wish he would never left. The only reason why he never played was because of his beliefs, and it's
the way that they don't mesh though. These are both ball dominant players. They can't play off ball. I mean, Luka probably can if he adapts his game to it, but that's not what his skill set is. These players don't pair well together. And you say like Luka's not able to take a team he's not able to carry a roster of nobodies to a championship. Who is?
I said role players.
Role players. Sure. Okay, who was the last person to do that? Dirk. LeBron? Nobody's done it since Dirk.
LeBron did it. He did it with the Cavs.
He had Kyrie. He had the guy that you're saying Luka doesn't get credit for.
No. I'm saying he did it before when he like had J.R. Smith and like, the other guy before Kyrie. He got them to the finals. He didn't win it.
You talking about his first trip with the Cavs?
Yeah. He got to the finals. I
guess. I suppose, yes. But he acknowledged that it's not something that's to say. He went to Miami because of that. That's not something anybody can do, especially in these day and age. The way teams are constructed these days, they do need to get Luka legitimate superstars. I think the Mavs need to consider trading Kyrie in the offseason because they're not going to go very far this season. And I think there's better fits for Kyrie. I think Kyrie thinks there's better fits for Kyrie. And 100%. There are way better fits for Luka. I need to see Luka with a really good center. I need to see Luka with shooters around him.
But that's the beauty of the NBA, though. Can they make that happen with just the people that they have? Do you think they can trade Kyrie into all the pieces they need to put around Luka in the offseason?
No, but it can be a start. It can be a start. And I'll tell you this right now, AJ. We're going to move into the next topic here, because if you dropped Luka Doncic onto the Sacramento Kings right now, they're the best team in the NBA, maybe ever.
I don't know if I can say all that, man. That's a bold claim. That is a very bold claim, sir.
Right now they have
who would they drop though? This is the question though. Who would you drop to put in Luka?
That's a great question.
Because you got to drop someone.
Yeah, I mean, you can have Kevin Huerter coming off the bench, right?
Sure, but you got to take somebody off the team.
Oh, I mean, well, no, like, I mean, you taking somebody off the team. Are you talking about like trade?
Yeah,
because I'm not trying to speculate trades here. I'm just trying to make a point about how
but
great
you still
got to
make room for Luka somehow. You got to drop one player.
Yeah, they got bench players they can get rid of.
Okay, then just say a bench player, and that's all you got to do. Move on.
We're dropping a bench player.
There it is. That's all I needed to hear.
I need your opinion, because you do watch a lot more basketball than me. I'm following it loosely. The Sacramento Kings are right now on the top of the teams that I'm following, though. Do you think the Sacramento Kings are legitimate title contenders right now? They have the best offensive rating in basketball, one of the best offensive net ratings ever in basketball. Is this team for real?
Okay. I'm going to say something that's going to get a lot of people upset right now. But no, they're not legit. Reason being, last team that did something similar was like the 2017-2016 Atlanta Hawks. They had no legitimate superstar players. They only had it was Al Horford and Jeff Teague. They were like the number one team in the league. They went into like the Eastern Conference playoffs and they lost. The reason being is they needed a superstar in the playoffs to push them past each other. It's like
De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox is a superstar.
De'Aaron Fox is not a superstar.
De'Aaron Fox is a superstar.
He is on the cusp of being a superstar. But like you said, this is a league that you need at least two superstars to win the finals. As much as I would love to see the Sacramento Kings win it all, like the Detroit Pistons of yesteryear, when we had like Big Ben and all those guys, it would be great. But I don't think it's possible purely because the playoffs are a bigger beast than the regular season. Teams are exposed in the playoffs because you play them back to back for 7 games. Teams can pick out your weaknesses and figure out where to play. And that's the difference between a team like, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Golden State Warriors. They have experience in the playoffs. They know how to keep it because it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I think that's the issue with teams built like the Kings.
You know who has playoff experience? You know who had to get it done? You know who has to win a championship on the Kings? Harrison Barnes. Been there, done that for Harrison Barnes.
True, but he's like the vet. He's the vet that everybody looks up to. I don't think he's a superstar. If you still think Harrison Barnes is a superstar, we got other things to talk about.
No, he's not. But I do I think De'Aaron Fox has the talent level of a superstar. I think De'Aaron Fox is as good as a Trae Young. I think he's as good as who else are people putting in that category? He's not Luka, he's not LeBron, he's not Embiid or anything like that. He's not like an MVP caliber player, I don't think. But I think a lot of the teams that people would consider a superstar on their team, the way Trae Young is considered, I think De'Aaron Fox is that level.
Has De'Aaron Fox ever been considered for the All-Star?
No, but he's very young.
He's not an All-Star.
He's very young.
Trae Young has been in the All-Star game. And he's very young, too. He's younger, arguably, than De'Aaron Fox.
All-Star.
I'm just saying.
About an All-Star game?
Technicality-wise.
I'm talking about watching the guy play on the court. He's averaging 25 points a game right now.
Is he averaging a double-double, though?
He's not, no.
Trae Young is. That's what I'm saying. I really don't consider De'Aaron Fox to be a superstar. I think he's a future superstar potentially, but I've always seen him as like in a real playoff team, a starter or a sixth man. And that's
okay. How far do you think the Kings go then? Talk about first round exit?
I can't see them going to either. No, I'm going to say they'll get to the next round. They'll get to the second round. They'll get past the first round.
I think that this team is going to surprise people. I think the Sacramento Kings are going to be in the Western Conference Finals, and I think they're going to lose it to the Suns. But I think they're going to the Western Conference.
The Suns are going to be a very hard team to beat. Like the Western Conference, it's just going to be really difficult. I don't see the Mavs getting anywhere. If they get to the playoffs, I really don't think they're going to get out of the first round. I think the Western Conference is too terrible, like too hard. It's the Suns
it's stacked right now. The Nuggets are playing very, very well. They have a legitimate shot, but I mean, I don't know. That team hasn't been able to stay healthy for years now. But I mean, we're talking about Trae Young. Let's get into the next topic here, because Trae Young, there's some controversy around Trae Young. Nate McMillan fired as Atlanta Hawks coach after taking them to the Eastern Conference Finals. Of course, last year, not nearly as good. This year, it's been ups and downs for the team. AJ, is Trae a coach killer?
You know, I think it's funny that people think he's a coach killer. I personally, I don't think he's a coach killer. I have some bias because I'm a Hawks fan, but you know, Chandler Parsons went on a show the other day to talk with Shams about his experience with Trae Young. He was on the same team as Trae Young. He was quote unquote the veteran for Trae Young during that tenure, and he explained that he's a dude that can get along with anybody, and he didn't even get along with Lloyd Pierce. Like, Lloyd Pierce was not a good coach. That was the coach that Trae Young had to deal with for the first couple years of his career in Atlanta. And it is known in the NBA that Lloyd Pierce is not a player's coach. Now, he got Nate McMillan afterwards. Nate McMillan did well and took them to the Eastern Conference playoffs under the playbook of Lloyd Pierce. So Lloyd Pierce had a good playbook. He was a bad coach. Nate McMillan is a good coach, but he's demanding of his team to a point where he couldn't really get along with the younger players. The younger players have a different mindset than the older generation. They don't want to be yelled at. They want to be acknowledged. The older generation, you can yell, scream just to get the best out of them, and that's cool. These guys didn't like that. And it was stated several times throughout the season. John Collins, Trae Young, even the newer rookies who didn't feel comfortable saying anything, like AJ Griffin, they made a point to say they weren't huge fans of Nate McMillan. So this leads me to the next thought of, he's not a coach killer when the whole team doesn't enjoy the coach. It's hard because he's the star and he gets the first look and everybody expects him, especially in this league. It's a stars league. They can dictate who the coaches are. But to me, I think this is just a young athlete, a young superstar who hasn't had a lot of veteran presence on his team. He was given the reins of an organization from the get-go. He was given the reins of this organization the second he was drafted as a rookie. So to me, I think I think Quinn Snyder's a good coach. He's going to hold him down. I think he's the type of coach that would hold him accountable and turn him into a superstar. I already think he's an all-star, but I think this could help him be a superstar, especially if DeJounte Murray steps up. Those two together.
I don't know. Is this team good enough to really be this demanding about the style of coaching that they want? This wouldn't happen in San Antonio where you have a guy like Greg Popovich. I mean,
well, you got to also take into consideration Pop is a great coach. He's probably the best coach the NBA has to offer currently. So
yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think so. But you look at this and it's just like Nate McMillan took him to the conference final. And I think he coached extremely well in that playoff run. I haven't seen Nate McMillan be bad at coaching. I've seen the team be bad at playing basketball.
You didn't watch his last couple of years at Indiana then. He was hated in Indiana.
I mean, I'm not going to watch Indiana basketball, AJ. I don't know what to tell you.
But that's the point that I'm trying to say is like his last few years in Indiana, he was touted as being hated. I'm not going to say that I remember specifically because it's Indiana basketball. Nobody wants to watch that. But I think it was the final years of Paul George over there that him and Nate McMillan didn't get along. That's why
I'll check in. I have a friend who's a diehard Indiana Pacers fan. Over the week, I'm gonna text him. I'll check in. I'll get his opinion on Nate McMillan. We'll ask Jim Tasty how he feels. Opinion. Yeah, we'll get the Tasty opinion. We'll update you guys on that next week. We got one more topic to cover before we get into the fun stuff. AJ, the pitch clock has been active in preseason baseball. We've seen games end on the pitch clock. AJ, is the pitch clock good for baseball?
No, it is terrible for baseball. I think it's the worst thing to baseball ever. It is deciding games in a fashion at which fans, players, and coaches are frustrated. Now, that's not good. You don't want to upset your main consumer with the ending of a game. Like, I think it was a Braves game the other day. Bases loaded, what was it? It was like bases loaded, 3 balls, 2 strikes, and the pitch clock came in, and that's the game. Literally, Braves lost because that's the game. At least let them strike out.
Braves lost because their batter couldn't be bothered to get to the batter's box on time. Just step into the box. I think it's great. I think the pitch clock is great. I love the pitch clock.
You would.
AJ, preseason baseball games are down an average of 30 to 40 minutes. This is life-saving for baseball. Baseball needs the pitch clock. The amount of time in between pitches is killing baseball. The games taking 2-3 hours for a game of baseball is ridiculous. If you look at the heights of baseball in the 90s and the 80s, baseball games took like an hour and a half at the most. Baseball was a fun, lighthearted game. It moved quickly. That's completely been drowned out of the game by boxers standing outside of the box, pitchers taking forever to throw pitches. I go to multiple baseball games a year, AJ. You know what's the one thing everybody in the crowd hates, regardless of who's pitching, is when a pitcher stands there for a really long time and then turns and throws the ball to first base. Everybody boos that, regardless of whose team did it. It's the worst thing. It's just killing time. You're wasting all of our time on this. Fair. We need to speed up the game. And I'll tell you what, they took a year and they used the pitch clock in the minor leagues. It worked fantastic there. You want to know why games are ending on pitch clocks right now? It's because it's preseason baseball. These players are being introduced to it. By the time the season starts up, the players will have adjusted. You will not see games ending on pitch clock violations. It's not going to happen. The players are going to adjust. This is great for baseball.
Now, see, I understand your thought process, but I think the way they're doing it is just wrong. Have the pitch clock first 8 innings. Last inning, no pitch clock. Why? Because that's the most interesting. That's when everybody's like on the edge of their seats. You do not want a game be decided by the pitch clock. There's just no reason to do that. If that happens in the postseason, especially, there's going to be riots. People are going to lose their mind if their team accidentally loses because of a pitch clock. No, they won't. You know why, AJ? You know why they won't?
Take it out for the 9th inning. You can because keep it for nobody cares about baseball right now because the game's too slow.
I'm telling you,
nobody is watching.
Well, that's an issue with baseball in general. All right.
We institute the pitch. We institute the pitch clock.
Savannah Bananas. All right. Look at those guys.
And you know what the Savannah Bananas do?
They make it fun.
No. Do you know how their games? Like, they don't use a pitch clock. You know what they do? There's a set amount of time for the game, and when you run out of time, the game is over. You don't get a 9th inning if you didn't play the game. But I kind of like
that better. Honestly, because think about it: if you are owning an inning, like you've been like cleaning it up, run after run, and you've just been like tearing it up for one inning, you deserve to win. I like that. I think that's good. Don't give the other team a chance. It's like soccer when you play keep away. I like that. Let's do that. Bring that rule to the MLB.
The average game time last season was 3 hours and 6 minutes.
Woof.
There's like 160 games in the regular season, and they are lasting 3 hours and 6 minutes. We need to cut down the time. It's 30 seconds. It's a 30-second clock. You can step out of the batter's box and step back in 30 seconds. It's not that difficult. You can pick your next pitch in 30 seconds.
Man? What if you got to sneeze?
How long does it take you to sneeze?
Not that long, but like, what if you're getting ready? You're getting into the mode, right? You're getting into the mode, and then like... no, I'm good. All right, let's go. Oh God. Oh wait, hold up. Wait a second. Let me get my shit back. I gotta put my helmet on. All right, there we go. I'm back. Now, see, that was more than 30 seconds. All right. Yes, it was animated, but like, you gotta, if you're a pitcher, if you're a batter, you're going up, you got your rituals, you gotta like, clap your leg 3-4 times. You gotta like, gotta stretch a little. You gotta get your rhythm right before you get in. And sometimes, they're superstitious. They gotta get all their things in. It takes a little longer than 30 seconds, man. I say if it helps the batters get a home run, give them the time, man. Or
we need less home runs. You know who didn't need 30 seconds to get a pitch off? Randy Johnson. Okay? The big unit.
Isn't he also the man that like destroyed a bird?
Yes.
The man is the Chuck Norris of the MLB. You can't make comparisons to him, okay? He literally exploded a bird.
Curt Schilling didn't need a pitch clock. The greats don't need pitch clocks, AJ. The batters don't need Barry Bonds didn't need 30 seconds to step in the batter's box. You know what he did? He stood in the batter's box and he hit home runs.
That's who you're choosing to.
Yeah, the best hitter of all time. Yeah, that's who I'm choosing.
Okay, fair.
You think Derek Jeter needed 30 seconds to get in the batter's box?
Yes, he did. He was one of the longest in the batter's box ever. He would always be like, wait a minute, and then come back out. This is one of the reasons why I hated the Yankees. Among other things, I just have this weird hatred of New York teams, man. I don't know why. Maybe it's because the Atlanta thing. We're like, we're the better southern city.
Ted Williams didn't need 30 seconds to step in the batter's box, okay?
Ted Williams making up names, all right?
Ted Williams? Ted Williams? You don't know who Ted Williams is?
No, I'm just saying things to get you angrier.
Okay, we're done with the topic.
Just poking the bear real quick.
We're going into Off the Top 3. This is a game we like to play every week where AJ and I make top 3 lists off the top of our head. I've got a topic for AJ. AJ's got a topic for me. Neither of us know what those topics are, but we got to make a top 3 list. AJ, what topic do you have for me this week?
I'm going to keep it on brand for the last topic we were talking about because you're getting so heated about it. Now, we all agree that the MLB is getting boring. All right, they need to fix up something. So I want 3 rules that you would like to see the MLB either enact or you'd like to see a future potential fan-controlled baseball rules.
Okay,
so give me the 3 you got because you I know you're an avid baseball fan.
Okay, strikeout looking, half a point. You strike someone out looking, you get half a point. Let's get high scoring baseball in there. I want different levels of home run. So like you hit it out of the park, that's a home run. But then you have like 100 feet outside of the park, 50 feet outside the park. You hit it over that, half a point.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And then I want, okay. If you hit a home run, right? Goes out into the stands. If a fan catches the ball and they're wearing the jersey of the team on defense, that's an out.
I like that rule. I think that because then it makes it like, oh, we gotta like intersperse fans within like each other, so it's an even base. Because like then you don't want like fan base sections because then you're avoiding an entire section. That's a good one. I like that.
All right. So my topic for you, AJ, give me top 3 wrestling matches of all time.
You're
or just your
making me,
favorites.
Go
just
historic.
Your favorites.
Like you're making me like really go historic with this. All right. Let's go. Got it. Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi. New Japan Wrestling.
Ooh. Yeah, that was a great match.
That was a great match. I one of the best matches I've seen. Just so athletic. Kota
Ibushi's honestly like maybe my favorite wrestler in the world right now. Maybe the best in the world.
So yeah, those two going at it. Love it. Definitely this like NWO WCW match when Sting comes down. It was like I think it was like what War Worlds or whatever. Like you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So that one definitely top 2 or 3. And then I'm gonna go with a newer one. And I know a lot of people are gonna get mad at this, but it's gonna be the Lucha Brothers against Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page for the AEW tag team like title.
That's one of the best tag matches of all time.
It was one of the best tag matches of all time. Like a lot of people don't give the Lucha Brothers enough credit.
Oh, they're so good.
I think they're like probably top 3 like tag teams out there right now. Like I think they're better personally than the Young Bucks, and I know like people will get mad at me for saying that, but like
I think they're better than the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
And they're also like they're individually incredible wrestlers. Like Fenix is amazing.
Dude, yeah.
Like I don't know if you watched like AAA back in like when he was like the star and like he's so good.
Lucha Underground, man, I loved it. Like I'm just upset that they can't give like Pentagon Jr. his name Pentagon Jr.
Yeah.
And like I just want that back. Like yeah, it's too much in AEW. It's like Penta El Zero Meadow, and it's like
the thing is every single like he has a different name when he wrestles in New Japan. He has a different name when he wrestles on like the British Indies and stuff. Like he's got so many names.
He's the Lucha Johnny Wrestling because it's like you know what I mean. He's like Johnny Warrior when he does Warrior Wrestling. He's like Johnny Elite when he does All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah, he was Johnny Mercury.
Johnny Morrison.
Yeah.
What was he in Lucha Underground? He was Johnny something.
He wasn't Johnny Nitro back then, right?
No, that was WWE. Now I'm looking it up. He was something. I'm gonna look it up.
I'll tell you what. So I'll just give you quick while you look this up. My favorite match of all time. This is one a lot of people probably don't even remember. I think it's the best wrestling match of all time. The best. It is Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania.
Ooh, that's a good
It
one.
is a perfect wrestling match.
You know, it's another good one now that you say that. Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio.
They've wrestled each other so many times, and every time
the one
it's
at
just,
Halloween Havoc.
The one at Halloween Havoc, mask versus hair. That's one of the best matches of all time. Yeah. Eddie is my favorite wrestler of all time, and he's just like, man, the perfect in-ring performer. So good. Yeah. Love Eddie.
I love how Pina gets so upset because he's like, there's no WWE matches in there. You know why? Because WWE matches are not that great.
Yeah, they don't have that many good matches.
Really
I'll throw you some NXT bones, but like I won't put an NXT match on my top of all time.
No. I think the issue for me with WWE and their writing is it's very predictable.
Yeah.
Whereas every other match that we mentioned, the thing that made them so spectacular was you were on the edge of your seat and you couldn't tell who was going to win. It was the storyline that led up to those matches were so good, were so well written, and you just wanted both sides to win in some of those ways. Like NWO, WCW, like everybody was feeling the NWO at that point. That was like the cool thing to be the bad boys. Like they were taking over the WWE, and the WWE were like the good guys, but the only one that people really resonated with at the time was Sting because he was this goth, dark character, but he was still a hero. And then you put like the Kenny Omega Kota Ibushi one. That is just pure talent all over the place.
See,
like,
if I was doing, I would do Kenny Omega versus Okada. The 6-star match at Dominion.
Yeah,
that's one of the all-time greats.
Now that you mentioned that, I may have to put that one in over it.
I mean, Peanut. You said like no. I think I would only have one WWE match in my list. And it would be the Eddie Guerrero match. I think it would be mostly New Japan. Maybe an AEW. Some of the AEW matches are pretty good. But all right, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week. This is a great show. Thanks everybody for stopping in. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. Thank you for listening at home. If you didn't know, Don't Khahs A Ruckus is a live show that you can watch on twitch.tv/fancontrolledsports every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. It also goes live on podcast services. Just check for the Fan Controlled feed, Fan Controlled Sports. It also goes up on the YouTube where you can watch it as a VOD, youtube.com/@fancontrolledsports. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, leave some comments. We'll be back at it next week. We're going to be ranking fan bases in the FCF next week, so be there for that. Where's your fan base going to rank? But until next time, let's keep a ruckus to the minimum. Oh, people are going to hate it.
We're gonna be skit. We're gonna be enemy number one in Discord. It's gonna be great.
All right. Till next time, keep the ruckus to a minimum.
Don't cause a ruckus. We talking that talk, it's spitting them facts. We setting them traps and cracking them backs. We got all the news, we know all the stories. We start from the bottom, rise up to the glory. We say what your local reporters can't say. We break down the X's and O's on the play. It's AJ, King, Con, and Jose Ruckus. We call it right on the first take and they love us. Yeah, we the best when it comes to sports debate. Find the podcast and let it play. If we get you in your feelings, that's okay. AJ